Hunter Biden has been found guilty on 3 federal gun charges after becoming the first son of a sitting president to stand trial. The jury in Wilmington, Delaware, President Biden's hometown, took just over 3 hours of deliberation to reach their decision. He faces a maximum of 25 years in prison and a fine of up to $750,000 on sentencing. Following the verdict, the judge told Hunter Biden that sentencing is usually set for 120 days after the verdict. That means Biden's son could be jailed in mid-October, just weeks before the US election. However, first-time offenders typically don't get anywhere near the maximum sentence. It is unclear if the judge is considering prison time as a sentence. Hunter hugged and kissed his family following the guilty verdict and gave a brief smile to his legal team. Shortly after sentencing, Hunter was seen leaving court with his stepmother, Jill Biden, and his wife, Melissa Biden Cohen, who has been by his side for every day of his historic case. Hunter's trial came on the heels of another high-profile trial in former President Donald Trump's hush money case.
In the Biden witch hunt, take a look at where the people come from. It's a Biden witch hunt. It's weaponization. So it seems that there are a lot of witnesses, a lot of people that they could have called that they didn't call. Now, they didn't call them, obviously, because they would have been very bad witnesses for them. But take a look at the list. Because of the gag order, I won't go down into individual names. But you have a lot of big players, very big players, that would have solved their problem or actually would have given us the win. We already have the win. If we had a fair judge, this case would have been over a long time ago.
Biden declined to testify in his case, as did Trump. Trump's campaign did, however, respond to Biden's conviction. In a statement, it branded the trial, quote, a distraction from the real crimes of the Biden crime family, and claimed that, quote, crooked Joe Biden's reign over the Biden family criminal empire is all coming to an end on November 5th. Biden's case revolved around his purchase of a .38 caliber Colt Cobra Special in October 2018. He possessed the gun for about 11 days. The charges stem from a mandatory form that Biden filled out when he purchased the gun. Prosecutors said that he bought it illegally because he lied about his drug use on the form. His lawyers argued that he never fired the gun, which ended up dumped in a trash can. It was found by a man collecting recyclables who gave it to police.
Earlier today, Hunter Biden was convicted of 2 counts of lying on a form submitted to a federal firearms dealer about his addiction or use of crack cocaine, and possessing a firearm while a user or addict. There have been 2 overarching themes emphasized by the prosecution during trial: this defendant's illegal choices and the rule of law. First, while there has been much testimony about the defendant's abuse of drugs and alcohol, ultimately this case was not just about addiction, a disease that haunts families across the United States, including Hunter Biden's family. This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous. Second, no one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant. However, Hunter Biden should be no more accountable than any other citizen convicted of this same conduct. The prosecution has been and will continue to be committed to this principle.
Lawyers suggested Biden was trying to turn his life around at the time of the gun purchase. He completed a detoxification and rehabilitation program at the end of August 2018, 2 months before he purchased the gun. The defense told jurors that there was no actual witness or evidence of Hunter's drug use during the 11 days that he had the gun. Hunter Biden has been open about his struggles with alcohol and drug addiction until he got sober about 5 years ago. He claimed that his downward spiral began after his brother Beau's death in 2015 from brain cancer. Beau's wife, Hallie, testified that she found the gun in his truck and dumped it into a trash can. She and Biden had a romantic relationship following Beau's death. Text messages between the two were a big part of Halley's testimony, one message allegedly revealing Biden's use of crack cocaine during those 11 days when he had the gun. "That's my truth," he wrote in a text to Halley. Testimony was also heard from Biden's ex-wife and former girlfriends, detailing his drug use and their failed attempts to help him get clean. In a rare show of emotion during the trial, Biden was seen wiping away tears as his daughter Naomi described visiting her father in rehab. In his closing arguments, prosecutor Leo Wise told jurors no one is above the law. Wise said jurors shouldn't treat this case differently because of who the defendant is. President Biden last week ruled out pardoning his son if convicted.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
In a statement, he said, "Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today." He added, "As a dad, I have boundless love for my son, his confidence in him, and respect for his strength. Our family has been through a lot together, and Jill and I are going to continue to be there for Hunter and our family with our love and support."
He had lived a life that has gotten him to this point, and through his poor decision-making skills has led to this climactic point. I believe that he probably was guilty of the charges because being the president's son wasn't blown out of proportion, quite possibly. But at the end of the day, he did do the crime, and so you got to be held accountable for that.
I don't think that political candidates should get off the hook just because they're in politics. I think Trump might be trying to deflect a little bit from his own shenanigans by trying to pin whatever he can on Biden's son. First of all, I think the president's son is a separate person from the president himself. And I mean, not to bring in other political candidates, but I think just in general, we're talking about Trump and his current trial, or the trial that just happened. So I feel like all of this is it's just craziness that's been going on recently.
When it comes to Joe Biden's son, was there an opportunity to pursue this case maybe beyond what normally would have occurred? Maybe so, because of what's been going on both sides of the political aisle. Was Hunter Biden guilty? Based on what I read, what I saw, sure, he was guilty.
This trial is separate from the one scheduled for September, where Biden is facing felony charges, alleging he failed to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes over 4 years in California.